Molt bon dia, molt bona tarda a tothom i benvinguts a aquesta sessió online que porta per títol Escenaris de futur en l'àmbit de la salut, disrupcions i tendències. Jo sóc l'Anna Simón, mànager d'innovació oberta i disrupció d'acció. I bé, aquesta sessió, com haureu pogut veure a l'agenda, durarà aproximadament una hora i molt breument us comento que tindrà tres parts. La primera, amb el nostre ponent convidat, el professor Michael Friebe, de la Technical University de Múnich, que a banda també és investigador, inversor i fundador de diverses startups i que ens parlarà sobre la disrupció i el futur en l'àmbit de la salut. Després donaré pas al Marc Gràcia perquè el presenti. La segona part de la jornada d'avui és on us mostrarem alguns exemples disruptius explicats directament pels companys de les oficines exteriors d'acció de Silicon Valley i de Nova York, en el marc, evidentment, del futur de la salut. I la tercera i última part de la sessió d'avui serà pel Marc Gràcia, consultor de l'equip de disrupció, que us explicarà els detalls d'aquest disruptor The Future of Health que presentem avui mitjançant aquesta sessió, que de fet és el sisè disruptor que oferim des d'Acció i, com dèiem, va dedicat a aquest àmbit de la salut. És la primera vegada que el fem en aquest àmbit i que tindrà lloc del 8 al 30 de novembre, amb sessions individuals que tot seguit explicarem. Aquí també comptarem amb la participació del Guido Charosky, consultor expert en innovació i director de l'Innovation Lab de l'MBA de SADE, que s'encarregarà i us explicarà avui també el bootcamp de disrupció, un bootcamp que oferim en el marc d'aquest disruptor i també com podem generar reptes a partir d'aquest exercici. També comentar que comptem amb la col·laboració de Biocat i de Tec Barcelona i també amb la col·laboració de l'EN, l'Enterprise Europe Network. Avui tenim més de 300 inscrits, no puc veure quants estem connectats, però esperem que siguem molts. Recordar-vos que aquesta sessió la gravem. I, com dèiem, l'objectiu d'avui és, 1, donar-vos a conèixer els escenaris de futur en l'àmbit de la salut, 2, presentar-vos els continguts d'aquest disruptor que comença el 8 de novembre i 3, que us inscrigueu en aquest exercici. Com us dèiem, després us donarem més detalls de com participar-hi i us compartirem l'enllaç per inscriure-us a través del xat que tenim en aquest Zoom. Voldria comentar breument, si em permeteu, per què oferim aquest tipus de servei des d'Acció, l'Agència de la Competitivitat. Doncs perquè, com sabem, l'entorn està canviant de manera molt ràpida. Com més alt és el ritme de canvi, major ha de ser el nivell d'innovació de les empreses i de les entitats, com nosaltres, per poder mantenir la competitivitat. I, per tant, les empreses que no siguin capaces d'adaptar-se i entendre aquesta nova realitat seran disrompudes pel mateix mercat. La iniciativa Catalonia Exponential, que va endegar Acció al gener del 2019, és on s'emmarca aquesta activitat d'avui i va adreçada o té per objectiu dotar les empreses de les capacitats i habilitats necessàries per liderar i gestionar la innovació i per avançar-se o fins i tot, per què no, liderar aquesta disrupció. Tenim casos a Catalunya d'empreses que estan liderant aquesta disrupció i que volem reconèixer a través dels Exponential Leaders i si voleu consultar alguns casos d'èxit que tenim aquí a casa, sense tenir-nos que anar més lluny, els podeu consultar també a través de la nostra web posant Catalonia Exponential Leaders. En aquests moments tindríem 36 empreses distingides amb aquest reconeixement. Aprofito breument per comentar-vos altres actuacions en el marc de la innovació oberta i la disrupció que us poden ser d'interès i que passaran properament. Sense anar més lluny, aquest dijous oferim una jornada en col·laboració amb l'IES i en el marc del programa Digital Innovation Hub sobre com incorporar tecnologia avançada a través de la innovació oberta. Tindrà lloc per la tarda de 5 a 7:45 aproximadament. Trobareu els detalls a l'agenda d'Acció a la web, si poseu Fòrum d'Innovació Digital, o sigui, el títol d'aquesta jornada és Fòrum d'Innovació Digital, i encara hi ha places per poder-hi participar. És una sessió en directe, física, no online, i que realment us recomano. Serà molt interessant on podreu trobar molts casos d'exemples i testimonis en directe de corporacions que estan col·laborant entre elles o amb startups o centres tecnològics en aquesta innovació oberta per incorporar tecnologia avançada. Després també, en breu, us oferirem els Open Innovation Challenges, aquests exercicis de connexió entre reptes de corporacions o d'entitats públiques i solucionadors d'aquests reptes, solucionadors innovadors i tecnològics. El proper Open Innovation Challenges, que al final és un exercici de B2B, de reunions entre corporacions en reptes i solucionadors d'aquests reptes, tindrà lloc en el marc de l'Smart City World Expo al novembre. En aquest cas, els reptes ja estan escollits i ara el que estem treballant és els solucionadors d'aquests reptes. Per tant, els podeu consultar com a solucionadors i participar encara com a solucionadors d'aquests reptes, i els propers exercicis són en el marc de les fires de referència en tecnologies digitals, ICE al gener i Mobile World Congress al febrer. Aquí encara esteu a temps, sobretot en el cas del mobile, de presentar reptes. Esteu atents a altres tallers i jornades que podem oferir entorn a metodologies, intel·ligència artificial generativa, etc., perquè en breu n'oferirem alguns. I la línia d'ajuts d'innovació oberta i disrupció, doncs avui no us l'explico perquè justament avui acaba de tancar. Per tant, està previst que obri novament al setembre del 2024, però sapigueu que aquí és on esperem que desemboquin totes aquestes actuacions de sensibilització i de connexió que oferim al llarg de l'any a la línia d'ajuts d'innovació oberta i disrupció perquè passin aquests projectes, perquè podem recolzar aquests projectes, que l'ajut a projecte és fins a 25.000 euros i aquest any teníem un pressupost de 3 milions d'euros. Doncs res més per part meva. Espero que aprofiteu molt la sessió d'avui i ara dono pas al meu company, el Marc Gràcia. Fins ara.
Perfecte, moltíssimes gràcies, Anna. Benvolguts i benvolgudes tots als assistents. Soc el Marc Gràcia, consultor de l'equip de disrupció d'acció, i arrenquem doncs amb la primera part d'aquesta sessió. Abans, recordar-vos, com deia l'Anna, que teniu l'opció del xat per si teniu cap dubte o pregunta en quant al Disruptor, o si voleu fer algun comentari al nostre ponent d'avui, les resoldrem al final de la jornada, i aquelles que quedin pendents les podré contestar per e-mail. Doncs passem ja a donar pas al nostre convidat d'avui, i ja canvio l'anglès. Our guest speaker for today, Professor Michael Friebe. Michael Friebe received the Bachelor Science degree in Electrical Engineering, the Master Science degree in Technology Management from Golden Gate University, San Francisco, and the PhD degree in Medical Physics in Germany. He spent 5 years in San Francisco as a research and design engineer with an MRI and ultrasound device manufacturer. He is a German citizen with experience in diagnostic imaging and image-guided therapies as a founder, innovator, CEO, investor, and scientist. He's also a research fellow with the Technical University of Munich, an adjunct professor with the Queensland University of Technology in Brisbane, and an honorary professor of image-guided therapies with Otto von Guericke University in Germany. And since 2022, he has been a professor of biomedical engineering innovation with the AGH University of Science and Technology in Poland. He is a listed inventor of more than 80 patents and has authored over 300 papers and was part of over 35 medical technology startups. He is currently a board member of 4 medical technology startups companies and an investment partner of a medtech fund. From 2016 to 2018, he was a distinguished lecturer of the Engineering in Medicine and Biology Society, teaching innovation generation and medtech entrepreneurship. And he's also an ambassador, coach, and trainer for OpenExo and a master launchpad mentor for the Purpose Alliance. Professor Frith, thank you so much for being here today. And we are thrilled to listen about your insights and what you think about the future of health and different methodologies and ways to react to this sector. Thank you.
Well, thank you for the introduction. Unfortunately, my Spanish or Catalan is really, really bad, so I did not understand anything, but I hope that it was all positive. So you let me know, everybody listening in, on whether it was negative, then I can actually yell at them later on. But thanks anyway for the introduction. I feel honored to be here. And I feel also quite privileged to talk about this topic. Future of health innovation, actually, in that sense. And I'm speaking to you as an engineer and as an innovator, not as a clinician. And I will tell you why I believe that clinicians are extremely valuable and extremely necessary for the innovation, but they typically are not the drivers. And I'm always saying typical because there are always exceptions to that. So let me start my presentation. I'll try to actually cover a lot of space in a fairly short period of time. So please apologies already for maybe jumping over a lot of things very quickly. But I will make the presentation available to the organizers. So whatever they do with it is you can distribute it or make it otherwise available. That's just fine. So let me start my presentation. I hope everybody can see it now. Mark, can you give me a thumbs up?
Yeah, excellent.
All
Thank
right,
you.
thank you very much. So the topic that I want to cover a little bit, I think I heard the word exponential to a certain extent already. And I believe that most of you know what exponential technologies are. I will maybe jump into it a little bit later on. And obviously, this is also because the tour is called Disruptor, has something to do with disruption. I hope it will be clear in this presentation later on, that's at least my stated goal, that disruption is needed in health, probably in no other space as much as in healthcare. On the other hand, disruption is a hated word in healthcare because it really not only disrupts, it challenges kind of like the way we have dealt with health in the last probably 150, 200 years. And I obviously don't want to only talk about what's bad or what is not working very well, but I'd like to actually give you some development goals, how I see that. This is a personal opinion. So ask 2 or 3 Michael Freebies, you may get 2 or 3 different answers on that one. But I hope that they are somewhat convincing and somewhat stimulating for your future activities. So let me start by asking on whether that's the future of healthcare. You see a moving picture, you see an MRI on the left side, you see some images. This to me is exactly what we do right now. We have a digital picture. Well, we don't have that in most places, but that's kind of like the innovation that a lot of people see. You can look into the body, you can diagnose very well, you can maybe even find things a little earlier. That would be a good thing. And then we subsequently think about therapy. Is that the future? It is certainly something that we need to have. I'm not challenging that the fact that we need to have good healthcare when you're sick, but I'm challenging the fact on whether we really need to focus exclusively on that. Thank you very much, by the way, General Electric, for these great moving pictures. I have another one later on. I don't know how many of you know Peter Diamandis. He has written a foreword to my book, so a little advertisement on that side here. This is the only time I will do some advertisement, but I wrote a book about novel innovation design for the future of health. So how should we do it? How should we think about the future in future of health and health innovation? And he has put a nice little statement in his foreword, and let me just read that to you. Let's put the power of exponential technology into the patient's hand and revolutionize how we live and how we deal with our own health. We are edging closer towards a dramatically extended health span where 100 years old can become the new 60. If you really think about this further on, what would that mean? Can we still go with 65 in retirement? What is our entire life look like? 25, start to work. You get married with latest 30, you have kids, Is that something that we need to rethink? Is it something that we need to rethink our social behavior and some other things? So a lot of things to think about if that happens. And I guess we all want to live very healthy up to a very long time. We don't want to be sick though. Another question, is that the future of healthcare? Again, thanks to General Electric, showing a nice picture of the hospital. And it kind of like shows what a hospital should be like. It should be very digital, it should be very well organized, it should be highlighting all the things that should come up. But is that something that we would like to have? I think it's better than a bad hospital, but again, rethink the whole setup. This is my prime example. Sorry for being, maybe there's somebody on the call who is deeply involved in this kind of setup. This is what we call an MR Liniac, an MRI system, which costs 1 million, just let's say for the heck of it. And we combine that with the linear accelerator, another 1 million. And interesting enough, I put this up later on. If you add those two together, 1 million plus 1 million, it will actually cost 6 million. So the question is it really, while it costs 3 times as much as those two systems, is it really 3 times as good? And the answer is no, it's just an incremental innovation. It makes certain things better. And interesting enough, the statements of the companies, you don't have to look at the small print right now. It basically says, this is the future. This is where we will get to. This is what the standard of care will be. The standard of care means it needs to be installed in just about every hospital. For 6 million euros, dollars, is that really true? Are they kidding themselves? Or is that something that will really happen for, again, a benefit to a small part of the population? So the issue with that is that if you're a medical technology company, you need to actually provide these kind of setups, these kind of increments, because that's how you stay competitive and relevant. But on the other hand, it is really important to note that just making a purchasing decision of a medical device does not provide necessarily the benefits that a user actually looks for. So there is already here a discrepancy of what, for example, a medical technology can offer, what a medical clinical user would want to, and what the benefit to society and the patient is. So let me ask you the question, and maybe you can quietly answer it for yourself. What do you think a doctor wants, a clinician wants, like, for example, a radiologist or urologist or cardiologist? Well, there's a very easy answer to that. He, she wants to have better medicine, better tools. They want to do a better diagnosis and subsequently a better therapy. That's really good. That's nothing wrong with that, but that's what the doctor wants. What does a hospital actually want? Well, typically a hospital, I would say, wants to be more efficient, wants to be competitive, wants to be, to a certain extent, be the one that is the number one choice for everybody that gets sick. What does a health investor want? Well, an investor wants typical return on investment. They want to invest in something that brings money back to them or investment back to them. They don't necessarily think too much about whether there's a purpose behind it and whether it's really good for society and whether it's good for the planet. Does it provide money? There is exceptions to that one as well. Ask yourself, however, what you as an individual want to have from a healthcare system. What's your interaction that you want to have with the healthcare system? My answer, and maybe that's the same than your answer, is I personally don't want to have anything to do with it. I neither don't want to get sick. I don't have any interest to go into a hospital. And at the end of the day, I would like to stay healthy. So I don't want to have anything to do with it. So also here you see a huge discrepancy between what the stakeholders in that system want and what the individual wants. And the individual, the one that the whole system circles around, or at least should circle around, is not in the center. And he or she is not the one who determines what happens. Big discrepancy. If you want to buy a car, you make a decision of what car to buy, what the features should be. You kind of like determine where you want to go. That's not the case in the healthcare system. And then think about all the other issues. I'll come back to that in a few slides later. Is what are the huge challenges that we have on top of that in the healthcare? Inequalities. We have ever increasing costs. There's lots of issues, demographies, etc. So there's a lot of talk about this future of healthcare, and we're certainly not the first ones that talk about it, and certainly will not be the last ones. I like that picture here. It's from 1926. That's almost 100 years ago, 100 years old, where I don't want to make, even though I'm a German, this happens to be from a German guy, from Fritz Kahn, who came up with this kind of like dashboard system, like electrocardiogram, breathing, and temperature. So this is like what they wanted to have in 1926. I in all honesty, if we really go to some of the hospitals, we still don't have that happening right now, even though it's potentially possible. And that Fritz Kahn also came up with a book. It's called the Human Being as an Industry Palace. So it kind of like, shows the functionality, how that human body works. And it's kind of like a motor, like an engine. But the problem with that is every motor is the same. Every human is not the same. So there's a lot of issues around that setup. But talking about the future of health, talking about optimizing, talking about how we can fix things has been basically, a part of the innovators' goals for a long time. So I firmly believe that healthcare will not only change dramatically, but will need to change dramatically. There's some reasons I've given to you already, and some other ones I will come up in a second. So you all have heard that before, and you all kind of like have asked yourself, but yeah, why is that change really needed? And from a patient perspective, I think I answered some questions, but most patients or most individuals are not that deeply into it. It's kind of like, you deal with health, not when you're healthy, you deal with health when you're sick. And then you kind of like rely on the system. So it's a little bit of a problem. And what does it really mean with respect for us as health innovators, as people, as people that really want to change something, and people that want to actually create some new stuff that is also valuable to everyone? So quick one on the cost side, Eric Topol. So look at the two charts: number of healthcare jobs, healthcare spend per person. I think those are the incredibly interesting ones. Number of healthcare jobs increased by a factor 4. Healthcare spend per person, however, by a factor of 20. Most expensive drug, I don't even have to comment this one here, but interesting enough, time allotted for office visits. You used to have a lot of time with a doctor, 60 minutes. Now we have only like 6, 7, 8, 10 minutes at the most. And look at the cost. So big question here, is cost our real biggest problem in healthcare? It is a huge problem, I think, but maybe that is addressable. You also see some of the solutions already in that chart. You also look at the non-communicable diseases, chronic diseases, cancer, diabetes, cardiovascular, what they cost to the society and how much they will cost in the future. And now ask yourself, where is it coming from? Where are chronic pulmonary diseases coming from? Drug abuse, smoking, maybe unhealthy environments, something that can be fixed, right? Cardiovascular disease, not exercising, poor diet, some other things. Yes, of course, there's people who really do have cardiovascular disease, but a lot of these are avoidable. Diabetes, diet issues to a large extent, and also exercise related, etc., etc. So a lot of these things probably could be avoided, but now what we're doing is we're actually dealing with treating the things that are caused by other issues. So it's non-communicable diseases. Are they the issues? Is it demographics? You see the change of demographics over the last basically 50 to 100 years, how it moves towards older population. You even see that in countries like Brazil, but you also see that countries that you consider on a low income nation or middle income nation like Tanzania is incredibly changing with respect to demographics. So is that the biggest challenge? There's a lot of other things, but why do we want to get older, or why do we have the ability to maybe become 100, but then we have dementia or some other neurodegenerative diseases that probably don't make life very valuable and very enjoyable. We have nutrition, health issues. I mentioned some of these already, lack of activity, and so on. So is getting old actually the biggest risk, or biggest risk of dying at the end of the day? There's a very interesting statement, and I would like to mention this, is we increased life expectancy, but we also increased almost equally the time of dying. So you get older, but you have a lot longer problems in an unhealthy state, not necessarily enjoyable. That's something what we call a not only life expectancy, but we have a term that's called HALE, health-adjusted life expectancy. So how long are you really healthy? And that has not really significantly changed over the last 30, 40 years. So other healthcare problems or issues are that who's paying for that? How do we democratize? How do we make sure that everybody on this planet has the equal access? Should healthcare actually be a business or not? We still have lack of medical staff, regulations, all kinds of other things involved. So there's a lot of problems, but as I think Peter Diamandis said that as well, is like every major problem provides major opportunities, and that may provide major international innovation opportunities, but you need to understand the problem first. So I believe that all the things I've mentioned already are enough reasons to believe that health needs to be disrupted. There's a lot of people against that, however, and that's the major issue, the major hurdle that we have to deal with. So disruption is not really liked by a lot of the players in there. So if you would be able to provide an MRI for 50,000 euros instead of 1 million, that would be a problem to the healthcare industry that manufactures these MRIs. So there's a lot of things that you have to consider when you actually come up with innovation ideas and innovation concepts. So we need to change a little bit this reactive, retrospective part of healthcare and make it a real healthcare, so not a sick care. So we are personally dealing with it all the time. I think I have another couple of statistics. I don't want to go deeply into it. Medical errors are a huge problem. The reasons why things went wrong. And if you look at these, they already provide additional innovation opportunities as well that probably can be solved to a large extent with technology. So innovation, as I see it, is not only do something new or do something valuable, but it's identifying the problems that really, really matter in health. And as the Dutch Minister of Health once said, because he was trying, I met him at the NextMed or Exponential Medicine exhibition, and he said it's a real wicked problem. We cannot really do much in our country because there's too many people who don't want the system to really change at the moment. So what I do with my students, I just wanted to just quickly show you, is I always make them at the beginning of the class design the surgery room 10 years from now. And I always ask, please consider social impact. I've done this probably like 300-400 times. I just wanted to quickly show that to you because, you will find robots, you find all kinds of things, but you will not see a lot of people in this one. I mean, where are the clinicians? Where are the clinicians here? There's robots and everything. So I do believe that these are the kind of things that we should look at a little more carefully because the patient, the individual, is the one who determines where healthcare should be. That the future hospital will show all these technologies, I think, is quite clear. So we don't have to mention that. I think that needs to come because it provides better diagnosis and better therapies. But do we also need with the individual, with the clinician that is actually part of the whole thing? This is one of the advantages that everybody says that a human being has over a machine. We're empathetic. Well, let me show you this one here. Just came out, UC San Diego, showing that ChatGPT and other things can be significantly, at least considered from a human perspective, more empathetic than the human being. So we need to also question ourselves on whether we really have an advantage here and whether we should maybe refocus our activities as human beings as part of the stakeholders in that system. And there's a lot of things why you really say, is there really enough evidence for the things that we do? Like, do we really have to implant all the stents? For certain people who work, for some others will not. Are surgeries really necessary? Is the screening really necessary? What does PSA or prostate biopsies really do? It may do something to an individual, but we do it very often on a statistical base, but we don't do it based on personal information that come into it. So personalized medicine, precision medicine, and value-based medicine needs to be part of the future as well, where we actually judge not only what we do, but what the effect of what we do really is to curing something. And that goes also for prevention, prediction, things that I will mention in a second, because we also need to find metrics to measure what is the effect of these health ideas and health concepts that I believe are really valuable, but I don't necessarily have evidence for that. So we need to create an empowered patient that needs to really be put in the center, which is not the case right now. And I'm theorizing and maybe debating on whether these systems that we have in the high-income nations, Spain, Catalan, Germany, US, is really capable of actually coming up with something like that. on whether we not have to focus on maybe countries that have a not so well developed healthcare system, but are more open to these changes and ideas. So we have the big healthcare dilemma. That's what I always focus on, is that we are having a sick care system which has a business model, and we're massively investing in or we should be in something that actually helps individuals and what individuals want, like, for example, not getting sick, prevention, but there's no business model for it yet. So I think that's the core thing that we have to do, is focus on developing a business model for that. So, and I think that these technologies can help doing this, moving from this medical care system that just basically, fixes you in acute situations, to a healthcare system that also comes up with some solutions for chronic conditions, is to a certain extent accountable to something that is preventative and has an influence on, basically teaches you of how to actually deal with your health during your life. And this is something I came up with. There's a 4P model already existing, but I thought a 5th P would be important, and that's the last one, prolonged health. It's just prolonged health. It actually should say healthy longevity, but healthy longevity doesn't have a P, so I use prolonged health, but that's basically what that means. This is what everybody wants. I want to know, upfront when I have a chance to get sick or develop something, and do something about it, prevent it from happening. It needs to be personalized to myself. I, of course, need to participate in my own health. I need to, have a good exercise, have good diet, etc. And I want to actually increase my health-adjusted life expectancy as much as possible. So I hope that we can, in that group or with the people, I'm not finished, Margaret, but it's good that you come up already and show me that. I'll need to finish up, but it's something that we need to really focus on. So just a quick word on the technologies. AI is in everybody's word. AI is so important, and it will be important. It is something that will massively change our healthcare system, but there's many other technologies involved, and I don't want to go into detail in them. I think that the convergence of these technologies, putting them together, will create a huge impact. An example could be the CRISPR technology, which is known to many of you. And I think that statement, that is the most important thing. 32,000 out of 50,000 diseases are caused by a single point mutation in the genetic profile. So if you find that one, we can be sure that we don't develop that disease. So AI combined with diagnostics, combined with digital biology, combined with genetics will be a paradigm shift. Another paradigm shift is when we use data, personalized data, create like a health intelligence engine, have biomarkers developed, and then have that used as a risk assessment and for bio clocks and age profiles. And there's a lot of AI that can be used for incremental innovations as well. So I listed some of them. Robotic-assisted surgery, it's a therapy tool, it's not a prevention tool. There's a lot of things you can do with it. AI, however, needs a lot of data, and data is generated by sensors. So you need to also consider actually putting some investment into the sensor development. We need to also think about workflow changes. It's not only that we just do an analog process digital, we need to include that into the digital presentation, into the digital workflow. And we need to not only look at incremental innovations, but we also should look at what does that really do to healthcare delivery issues. So not only looking at how can we improve current system, but how can we actually use digital information to change workflows. And the incremental innovation, in all honesty, is the domain of the established players, the Siemens, Philips, General Electric of the world. And I think that a lot of the innovation is actually coming from entrepreneurial and interdisciplinary activities, something that I hope we'll stimulate here in this class. And we need to be a little bit more proactive and also change the educational setup. So this one is a cool one. I don't want to explain this, but I think this is the only formula I came up with. I wanted to make it a little engineering, a little technical. So I believe that healthcare innovation and the future value of healthcare innovation has to do, and that's an exponential information as well, with the data that we collect, the data that we use to actually create this innovation, and then a commercial value with that. So you should look for these kind of opportunities where technologies could have a huge impact on and a massive impact in the future, and then maybe think about incremental steps of how to get to this big disruptive thing. So now I'm getting to the end here. My future trends and technologies and changes I believe that they have to do with prevention. They have to do with maybe using technologies for local truck delivery, for local monitoring, maybe cheap transplants, but they also need to be, and that's like the development focus that has not been in the past. They need to be very effective. They need to be cheap, because otherwise we'll not reach a democratization effort. They need to be robust, scalable, and modular. And I think there's a lot of these exponential technologies that will help us to get this done. And just as a final one here, some of the ones I just found, 11th of October, xenotransplantation. So basically using growing organs in an animal, then using it for humans, or artificial transplant could be the same thing. And of course, people pouring tons and tons and tons of money into aging or aging related diseases and things that would help us to actually rewind our clock. So we need to make sure that we have a business model for these things, and AI, for example, there's also, to me, when I look at a lot of these startups, not a real business model existing, but I think it will come because we want it. So 5P makes sense: prediction, prevention, participation, precision, and prolonged health. And that's why we should also put money and efforts into this case. And I think with this, I'm going to close up, because sorry, not close up with last word. I believe, and I mentioned it before, reverse innovation. I think I should mention one word on this one, is actually using innovation maybe in areas where they're not that far developed and they don't have this very rigid infrastructure. So maybe bring it to low income nations and then bring it back once you have actually proven a point. And with that, I'll close this talk, and I hope it was somewhat informative and somewhat helpful. And if you have any questions, then I'd be gladly answering them either now or later on. You gladly can connect to me as well. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Michael.
So I hope it was somewhat on time at least. So my clock tells me it was about 31
No,
minutes.
you've seen me for 10 minutes in the screen, but I was not in the main screen. I was not pushing you out of the stage.
So I thought you were showing up and just showing me something.
No, you were in time. No worries. I was just getting ready. So yeah, thank you. Super inspiring talk. Thank you so much, Michael, for the insights you gave us about the future of healthcare. That I think that they would definitely be very useful for the Disruptours participants for the next weeks, all these insights. So it's been wonderful connecting with you, and I'm looking forward to talking to you again for the next few weeks for the curation of the Disruptours. So although we will now continue, Michael, in Catalan, if you can stay with us until 4:30, I'm sure the audience will have some questions for you. Thank you. Perfecte. Doncs continuem ara ja amb la segona part. Com us comentàvem, ara és el moment per explicar-vos algunes de les disrupcions que han detectat algunes de les nostres oficines, en aquest cas les oficines exteriors de Silicon Valley. Un moment, que no hem partit el so, de Silicon Valley i de Nova York. Perfecte. Us posarem un breu vídeo.
Hola, bona tarda. Soc el Jesús Buenafuente, consultor de l'oficina d'acció a Silicon Valley. Tot seguit farem una pinzellada de la indústria de la salut als Estats Units i veurem també 3 exemples especialment disruptius de startups de la indústria de la salut que hem seleccionat per donar-vos una idea del tipus de solucions.
Vale, perdoneu, crec que se m'ha parat el vídeo i l'àudio.
Ja. Per fer només 5 salut que hem seleccionat per donar-vos una idea del tipus de solucions que veurem en el Disruptor del novembre. Per fer només 5 cèntims, la indústria de la salut als Estats Units és la segona més important de la seva economia. En termes de PIB, representa el 18% del PIB total del país, dona feina a més de 16 milions de persones i compta amb una infraestructura de més d'1 milió d'hospitals i clíniques. Si mirem la despesa en salut per persona, és la més elevada del món, amb diferència, a més, ja que és el doble que la d'Alemanya i 4 cops més alta que la de Corea del Sud. Coses que volíem destacar també. Estem observant una gran transformació tecnològica en aquest sector amb una inversió rècord de 35.000 milions de dòlars en startups de Digital Health i MedTech. Aquestes xifres són del 2022, però és que si mirem les del 2021, les del 2022 representen un increment de més del 50% respecte a les de l'any anterior. Què més? La principal tendència que estem veient, l'ús de la intel·ligència artificial, òbviament. Aquesta la fan servir per desenvolupar nous fàrmacs, nous tractaments, diagnosticar malalties, personalitzar l'atenció mèdica, you name it. Per exemple, els sistemes basats en intel·ligència artificial ara poden analitzar imatges mèdiques amb molta més precisió del que ho faria un ésser humà, al final. Es poden utilitzar també per desenvolupar plans de tractament personalitzats per pacients que tinguin càncer, qualsevol tipus de solució. Passem a veure, doncs, un exemple d'intel·ligència artificial. Tempus. Tempus és una startup de Chicago que el que fa és que permet predir, diagnosticar i tractar malalties, però li afegeix una capa extra. Els seus algoritmes analitzen grans volums de dades clíniques i moleculars, proporcionant insights molt detallats en temps real, i aquí està la clau. El que fa que Tempus sigui tan disruptiu és que pot interpretar i organitzar dades molt complexes de pacients, com dèiem, dades fins i tot a nivell moleculars, que abans eren molt difícils d'analitzar, però que ara, amb el deep learning, pot identificar patrons molt subtils en aquestes dades. Això el que fa és que ajuda els metges a prendre decisions més informades i al final molt més personalitzades i que ho fa, com comentàvem, en temps real. Les implicacions, òbviament, són sobretot en àmbits com l'oncologia, la cardiologia, la neurologia, etc. Fa 4 mesos, al juny d'aquest mateix any, van llançar Tempus One, el primer assistent clínic que aprofita els avenços en intel·ligència artificial generativa perquè els metges tinguin accés directe a informació sobre els seus pacients. És un assistent de veu i text, en versió mòbil, en versió escriptori, que proporciona el perfil clínic i molecular complet de cada pacient, juntament amb altres dades. Això el que fa és que, com dèiem, els metges poden consultar aquesta plataforma per prendre decisions clíniques, fer-ho en temps real, etc. Passem a la següent startup, ciberseguretat. Només 2 dades. El 56% dels hospitals dels Estats Units han patit atacs cibernètics en els seus dispositius connectats. D'aquests, el 24% ha registrat increments en la mortalitat com a conseqüència d'aquests atacs. No ens cal anar tan lluny. A Barcelona, a l'Hospital Clínic, fa alguns mesos, van patir un atac cibernètic molt seriós on es van exposar fins i tot dades de pacients. Dins d'aquest marc, el que veiem és que hi ha una startup, que és Cinerio, que s'ha enfocat exclusivament en l'àmbit de la salut i que ofereix una plataforma per protegir dels ciberatacs els dispositius mèdics que estiguin connectats a internet. Aquesta plataforma utilitza la intel·ligència artificial també per identificar i mitigar els riscos de seguretat de dispositius que siguin, com dèiem, que estiguin connectats a internet, com poden ser bombes d'insulina, màquines de ressonància magnètica, marcapassos, etc. Per veure un exemple del que seria el dashboard de Cinerio. Aquí podem veure que s'estan monitoritzant activament fins a 1.056 dispositius mèdics, 84 servidors mèdics, la capacitat que té de monitorització i d'actuació, la veritat és que és impressionant. Passem al tercer exemple i l'últim de la meva part. Clearly. Clearly és una startup que ha desenvolupat una plataforma per diagnosticar i gestionar la malaltia arterial coronària o CAD en anglès. Aquesta malaltia és la principal causa de mort als Estats Units, és la número 1. De nou, a través de l'ús de la intel·ligència artificial, permeten analitzar els tacs del cor per identificar la placa coronària. Aquesta informació la utilitzen després els metges per diagnosticar la malaltia arterial coronària, avaluar el risc d'un atac de cor, veure quin pot ser el millor curs de tractament, etc. Clearly, aleshores, proporciona una avaluació molt més precisa i completa d'aquesta malaltia que el que poden fer amb mètodes tradicionals, com les proves d'esforç o els electrocardiogrames, etc. Sovint aquestes proves, com sabeu, poden ser una mica inexactes, poden passar per alt fins i tot el 50% dels casos, etc. Clearly, en canvi, identifica amb total precisió la placa coronària. Per veure una mica ràpidament com funciona la tecnologia de Clearly. El seu algoritme de machine learning selecciona les millors imatges automàticament, identifica i etiqueta les artèries coronàries i realitza una avaluació ràpida per determinar el percentatge de l'estrenyiment arterial i el volum de placa, entre d'altres característiques. Aleshores, aquestes dades es mostren en una interfície molt intuïtiva i molt fàcil d'utilitzar, que el que fan és que els metges ho poden revisar i prendre les decisions oportunes. Dit tot això, havent explicat aquests 3 exemples, li passo la paraula a la meva companya Judit Sendra, de l'oficina de Nova York, qui ens donarà alguns exemples més. Moltíssimes gràcies.
Gràcies, Jesús. Encantada d'estar aquí amb tots vosaltres. Soc la Judit Sendra, de l'oficina de Nova York, i us comentaré alguns altres exemples del que podrem trobar durant el Disruptor de Future of Health. Seguirem parlant de solucions per les malalties cardiovasculars. Com ha comentat el Jesús, és la primera causa de mortalitat als Estats Units i ja tenim molts avenços, com és la tecnologia de sincàrdia, que, com sabeu, fa uns anys es va provar amb èxit a l'Hospital de Bellvitge. Un pacient de 30 anys que necessitava de manera imminent un trasplantament de cor no trobava un donant compatible i aquest dispositiu, aquest cor artificial, li va permetre tenir més temps per esperar un donant compatible. Però encara depenem de donants compatibles i ja sabeu que això és un gran repte. Aleshores, les solucions que s'estan treballant ara és buscar o poder tenir un banc d'òrgans que sigui independent dels donants. I en això està treballant BioLife 4D, el primer exemple que us comentaré. BioLife 4D el que fan, estan desenvolupant un cor que sigui compatible amb tots els pacients i el fan amb impressió 3D. Com ho fan? Primer es fa un TAC al pacient per saber com està la forma, l'estructura del cor. Després, a partir de la sang, obtenen unes cèl·lules que les desdiferencien i es tornen pluripotents i després les poden diferenciar en les diferents cèl·lules que es necessiten per poder sintetitzar un cor, totes les cèl·lules que té un cor. Les fan créixer amb els factors de creixement i tots els nutrients necessaris i obtenen les diferents cèl·lules, les separen, com veieu aquí, com si fossin tintes de color en una impressora, però aquí tenim cèl·lules de diferents tipus i van sintetitzant el cor capa a capa, amb la mateixa forma que tenia en el pacient, segueixen la mateixa forma que s'ha trobat durant el TAC. Aquest cor sintetitzat capa a capa el fiquen en un bioreactor amb els nutrients necessaris, amb els medis de cultiu que es necessiten i aleshores poden aconseguir un cor funcional que pot bategar, com podeu veure. Un cop tenen el cor funcional, el poden implantar a dintre del pacient i, com és amb les seves cèl·lules, serà totalment compatible. I és un gran repte, com veieu. Encara estan rebent finançament, segueixen buscant solució, avançant en aquesta solució, però encara estan en fases molt inicials. El següent exemple que us vull comentar és aquest de TitoCare. És un medical device que ajuda molt a la telemedicina, a totes les visites virtuals que s'estan fent, que cada vegada es fan més actualment. El que han fet és aquest dispositiu que es pot tenir a casa i que pot mesurar, es pot veure amb una trucada si hi ha infecció d'oïda, es pot escoltar els pulmons, tenen informació del cor, poden veure si hi ha infecció a la gola. Amb una trucada, el doctor ja no necessita que vingui la persona de manera física per saber si el que té el pacient és una infecció o no, o si respira bé o no. Això ho poden fer amb aquest dispositiu que tenen els pacients a casa. Aleshores, també tenen formats per professionals o fins i tot per hospitals. TitoCare ja ha aixecat més de 200 milions i la veritat és que els inversors han apostat molt amb aquesta solució perquè és un gran canvi per la telemedicina. Ara us vull parlar dels avenços que s'estan fent en els robots. Com ja sabeu, ja tenim grans robots com és el Da Vinci que dona suport als cirurgians per fer cirurgies, però no són autònoms. Aleshores, el que s'està fent és avançar amb els robots completament autònoms. En aquest primer exemple de la Universitat Johns Hopkins van aconseguir realitzar una cirurgia laparoscòpica intestinal amb èxit amb un robot de manera completament autònoma. Aquest resultat l'han publicat a la revista Science Robotics i també hi ha empreses que estan desenvolupant altres robots completament autònoms que poden fer cirurgies. Aquest altre segon exemple que us poso aquí de Cobionics és un robot que és capaç de fer injeccions de manera autònoma. El robot és capaç d'agafar la solució a injectar, estudiar la posició exacta del pacient, injecta la solució i després retira el fungible. I finalment, aquest últim exemple d'Unlimited Robotics, que el que fa aquest robot és anar a fer la ronda pels passadissos d'un hospital, per exemple, va habitació per habitació, preguntant i recopilant informació i d'aquesta manera el personal sanitari només ha de recopilar aquesta informació i descarrega molt la feina que tenen les infermeres i auxiliars, per exemple. Són alguns dels exemples que estem trobant, que estan demostrant que els robots autònoms ens ajudaran molt a descarregar el sistema sanitari i algunes solucions prometedores que podrem veure durant el Disruptor de Future of Health en uns pocs dies. Encantada, gràcies a tots per estar aquí i ens veiem aviat.
Molt bé, doncs malauradament no hem pogut tenir el Jesús i la Judit avui en directe, però ni tampoc els exemples de la gent que han anat donant, però sí que els tindrem en el Disruptor. I ara us passaré a explicar-vos com comentava, passaré a explicar-vos molt breument el que és el Disruptor que començarem el 8 de novembre. Què són els Disruptors? Els Disruptors nosaltres els dissenyem com un espai per a pensar, per sortir una mica del dia a dia i mirar més enllà, per la vostra part, per ajudar-vos a connectar-vos i a fer networking, no només amb els ecosistemes d'innovació que visitarem virtualment, sinó també amb tots els participants catalans que estiguin al Disruptor. Volem que sigui també una eina d'aprenentatge i validació d'idees de negoci de futur i de reptes de les vostres entitats i de les vostres empreses i, evidentment, també volem que sigui un espai d'inspiració. Què fem principalment als Disruptors? El que fem és mostrar-vos diferents paràmetres que poden afectar i que poden, d'alguna manera, modular el futur d'un àmbit en concret, en aquest cas, el futur de la salut. I principalment el que fem és mostrar-vos tendències, tecnologies exponencials o noves aplicacions d'aquestes tecnologies, nous models de negoci, etc. I no d'una manera, diguéssim, unidireccional, sinó que el que fem és deixar-vos debatre amb aquests disruptors internacionals que han desenvolupat aquestes tecnologies, aquests models de negoci o que són experts en aquestes tendències. Aquesta seria l'estructura d'aquest proper Disruptor de Future of Health. Ràpidament, la part de dalt és una part presencial, és un bootcamp i sessions individuals, i la part de baix són les sessions internacionals del 14 al 30 de novembre, on podrem discutir i parlar amb diversos disruptors internacionals. Per explicar la primera part, hem convidat el consultor que durà a terme aquest bootcamp, aquestes sessions individuals. Us presento el Guido Charosky. El Guido és cofundador de Drop, expert en innovació estratègica i disseny, amb més de 20 anys de trajectòria en sectors com el retail, serveis i salut, entre d'altres. I com molt bé deia l'ara a l'inici de la sessió, és el director de l'Innovation Lab de l'MBA de SADE i professor, entre d'altres, de metodologies com Design Thinking, Lean Startup, etc. Guido, adelante, bienvenido. Explícanos un poco cómo vamos a organizar el bootcamp.
Genial, bueno, muchas gracias, es un placer y un gusto estar aquí hoy. El bootcamp básicamente lo vamos a hacer es como una sesión de reflexión estratégica hands-on, experiencial, donde vamos a discutir, a identificar tendencias y a utilizarlo como precalentamiento para el Disruptor, para las sesiones que vais a tener, para poder enfocar esas sesiones y poder sacar el máximo partido, con esa vista puesta en el futuro y hacia vuestras empresas o instituciones. El objetivo es analizar y detectar tendencias y identificar potenciales disruptores para nuestro negocio, para nuestra situación, nuestra institución, y ver cómo, a partir de estos disruptores, que pueden ser tecnológicos, sociales, económicos, estos cambios, cómo podemos detectar retos y identificar o idear líneas de innovación, líneas de generación de nuevos modelos de negocio. Esto, bueno, es un poco presentación de ya Marc explicó. Yo soy cofundador de Drop. Una vez un cliente nos definió como un híbrido entre una consultora de estrategia y una agencia de diseño. Y esto es un poco este movimiento pendular que vamos a intentar hacer, ¿no? Desde la estrategia, alto nivel, tendencias de futuro, a cómo lo bajamos al diseño de modelos de negocio para nuestras instituciones, nuestras empresas, que vamos a estar participando en la sesión. A nivel de agenda, básicamente trabajaremos la primera parte a nivel de tendencias, provocar, digamos, llamémoslo así, será más una provocación de provocar discusiones y detectar tendencias, para luego ya empezar a trabajar en cada empresa o institución participante en sus propios retos y en cómo aplicar estas tendencias para generar nuevos modelos de negocio o nuevas líneas de innovación. Y lo que haremos luego, después del bootcamp, vamos a tener sesiones individuales con cada una de las empresas participantes o empresas o instituciones para ver cómo haciendo estas sesiones de coaching individual, de cómo podemos enfocar esos resultados o esas líneas de innovación, esas líneas de nuevos modelos de negocio, para poder definir siguientes pasos en cómo lo podéis implementar o cómo podéis dar esos movimientos hacia generar estos nuevos modelos de negocio.
Perfecto, Guido. Muchísimas gracias. Nos vemos el día 8 de noviembre con fuerzas, ánimos y la mente abierta para el taller.
Eso es, muchas gracias.
Vale, els propers 3 minuts acabo de comentar la resta del Disruptor. Per tant, com us comentava, són 9 sessions online. Serà més fàcil per explicar-ho veure'n alguns fragments. Aquest és l'exemple típic de sessions del Disruptor. Normalment tenim 4 persones, un moderador i 3 speakers internacionals que ens parlaran de les disrupcions que ells han desenvolupat, dels nous models de negoci, tecnologies, etc. I on podreu parlar directament amb ells, obrir un espai de preguntes, amb càmera, amb vídeo, amb micro, res de xat. Per tant, és un format com de missió virtual. Els speakers i els moderadors els tenim gràcies a la xarxa d'oficines d'acció que treballen en aquest Disruptor de Future Health, que en aquest cas seran l'oficina de Seül, Hong Kong, Copenhagen, Londres, Nova York i Silicon Valley, cobrint els seus països respectius i altres zones geogràfiques d'influència. Aquí sí que trauré el volum. Exemple de sessions. Doncs, per exemple, sessions on presentem idees i prototipus de startups internacionals.
And autonomous aircraft. Why autonomous? Regarding the requirement of the company.
Sessions on grans empreses ens comenten quin tipus de tecnologies i models de negoci estan incorporant en els seus productes. Idees disruptives de Silicon Valley, com el cas de Nuro. També parlem amb grans empreses que inverteixen en startups i models de negoci, de tal manera que identifiquem el per què. Parlem de com noves tecnologies poden afectar el sector de certs àmbits, sobretot aquestes tecnologies avançades. Com aquestes tecnologies també ens poden aportar noves aplicacions. En aquest cas esteu veient exemples del Disruptor de Future Mobility, evidentment. Millores en processos ja existents. Converses sobre tecnologies com poden afectar en aquest àmbit. En aquest cas vam parlar del blockchain i data en l'àmbit de la mobilitat. Algunes de les sessions poden incorporar fragments on els disruptors ens expliquen quines metodologies han seguit per desenvolupar els seus business models. I també en algunes sessions podem comentar quin serà el futur dels negocis actuals si realment totes les disrupcions es duen a terme. Quant a la participació d'aquelles empreses, entitats, hospitals, centres que vulgueu participar, es demana un compromís típic de participar en un programa, en aquest cas una missió virtual d'acció, en el tema de temps, de tenir la ment oberta en el bootcamp, preparar-se alguna de les sessions, normalment la primera i l'última, intervenir amb càmera, veu i fent preguntes a tots els ponents que tenim en les sessions, ja que tenen la diferència de connectar-se i explicar-nos les seves disrupcions. I en quant a les condicions de participació, com a missió virtual que és el Disruptor, té un cost de participació de 200 euros per empresa. El format ja l'heu vist, és principalment virtual, segurament via Teams, excepte el bootcamp del 8 de novembre que el fem presencial. Hi ha un procés de selecció dels participants per assegurar l'encaix en el programa i així com en la part online no tenim nombre límit de participants. Sí que és veritat que el bootcamp el tenim limitat a 12 empreses o entitats. En el cas del bootcamp sol·licitem que participin 2 persones per empresa i el criteri que seguirem en cas de que hi hagi més inscrits en el bootcamp de la capacitat que tenim, seguirem un criteri d'inscripció, d'ordre d'inscripció, així com també de l'encaix en el programa. Buscarem realment que la gent que vingui al bootcamp tingui ja idees o tingui reptes que puguin treballar en aquest bootcamp. En totes les sessions online sí que és veritat que poden participar tots els membres de la mateixa empresa que vulgueu dins de les condicions que us indicava. Els meus companys us han passat el link per inscriure-us en el xat. Us el poso aquí també en pantalla. I com hem anat comentant, tot aquest material, totes les presentacions que hem anat fent avui i el vídeo els trobareu penjats en la mateixa pantalla d'inscripció. El vídeo, per exemple, també en el canal de YouTube. Us demano disculpes si en algun moment hi ha hagut algun problema amb el so, sobretot amb el vídeo. En qualsevol cas, en 2 o 3 dies estarà ja penjat per si ho voleu tornar a veure a YouTube. Aquí també teniu el meu correu, que també us l'han passat pel xat. I ara ja són les 4:30. Evidentment, abans d'acabar, el que faré és obrir les preguntes que heu anat fent. Em sembla que n'hi havia alguna pel Michael. No sé si... Michael, are you still here with us?
Yes, I am.
Okay, cool. Excellent. So I think you didn't have access to the questions that the audience was asking, but there now I lost them. Just give me 1 minute. Yeah, well, there was a first question, quite a general one actually. That actually I read it when you still didn't finish your presentation. That was the future of health. Is it all about technology and digitalization? Just a general question.
Well, if you look at exponential technologies, they need to be, of course, technologies, and they need to be digital. But I think there's a lot of, if you really look at for example, the causes of getting sick, I think I mentioned some of them. It's like getting old is a reason, of course. Demographic is a reason, but a major reason is that you are living in an unhealthy environment. You eat unhealthy, you don't exercise enough. So these are the things you can do, you can correct easily or work on easily without any digitization, any technology. Technology could be helpful managing the process and monitoring the results, and maybe you have some gamification involved that keeps you on track. But I think these are the more effective measures than anything. So I do believe that the technologies will support and help us. They will show us, that's the status right now, that's the status now, but the actual action, the health action, is non-digital or non-technology.
Yeah. Yeah, you're completely right. That was the main part of the second part of your presentation. All this. Okay. I'll move to other comments I have here. I see. In my opinion, the stopper of innovation is aversion to change. How do you think it could be fostered in healthcare? And after the question, another attendee just said, I agree. We need a proper business model for solutions based on prevention, keep people healthy. No, that's another topic actually. Well, I will finish the second one then. I agree. We need a proper business model for solutions based on prevention, keep people healthy, and avoid visits and admissions. Any hint? Oh, you're muted.
Oh, yeah, I was not allowed to actually. I was not allowed to mute myself. Absolutely true. And the problem is that I do believe there's plenty of money in the healthcare system that would allow us to do some of these 5P measures. However, that means you have to take somebody money away and shift it somewhere else. So you basically take it off from the acute service or from the statutory service, or you have to just take it from the doctors. Whatever, you have to take it away and put it somewhere else. And I think there will be, of course, people that will not like that, right? And there will, of course, be a lot of trouble. So I do believe that the new business models will need to be developing in parallel. And maybe there's even an additional program that incentivizes people to do certain things. So, for example, the health insurance could start a novel business model where they say it's going to cost you 500 euros a month to be health insured. And if you do this and this and this and this and that, you get a 50 euro credit, a 100 euro credit, and you have to provide it to us. So that's a second business model. And that doesn't take anything away from the existing one at the moment, but will have a long-term effect. And so I think that's what will happen. And the other thing is that I believe that in a lot of countries where we don't have a business model health yet, or it's basically only limited to whenever I need a doctor, I pay them, or whenever I need a hospital, I pay them, that will have much more luck, much more progress in showing the benefits of such a novel business model. So I don't believe that Germany, Spain, US will be the leaders on shaping this new business model with the existing healthcare reimbursement. They will have to start a novel one on the side. So, and that's very undemocratic, I have to say too, because at the end of the day, people that can afford it will do it. People that will not be able to afford it will not be doing it initially. And I personally don't like that at all, but I think that's kind of like what will happen.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right.
Mm-hmm.
Cool, excellent. Well, this is a topic maybe we can discuss in the ethics sessions as well.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. Yeah, so thank you, Michael. Just as a quick reminder, because I was not I didn't tell the audience exactly the different sessions we will go through, the ones that you are helping me to design, Michael, for the next November. So we're gonna have 9 sessions. First one will be AI-powered healthcare, diagnosis, surgery, and beyond. Then the second one will be telehealth, transforming healthcare delivery. Third one, building the organs of the future. Session 4, next generation diagnostics. Session 5, hospitals of the future, innovations in healthcare facilities. Session 6, healthy longevity. That's one of the topics you like, Michael, extending lifespan and quality of life. Session 7 will be personalized medicine, tailoring healthcare for individuals. Session 8, ethics and cybersecurity in the future of healthcare. And then at the end, the 30th of November, well, we'll have a wrap-up session. That's it. So I don't see any more questions for you, neither for me, Michael. So I will switch now again to Catalan to say goodbye. Well, and thank you. See you soon, Michael, in the preparation of the Disruptor. Molt bé, doncs moltíssimes gràcies a tots per assistir a la reunió, a la sessió d'avui. Teniu el meu contacte, el link pel Disruptor, qualsevol dubte i consulta, no dubteu en fer-nos arribar. Moltíssimes gràcies i molt bona tarda.